Hi, and welcome to this Psychology Basics on Exam Skills Calculating. So looking at the assessment objectives here, our AO1, AO2 and AO3, in terms of calculating what assessment objective does it come under, it comes under our AO2, our application, that's our use of knowledge. So in terms of the requirement for the AQA Psychology A-level, at least 10% of the exam questions will be maths based. So as well as having the 48 marks of research methods in paper 2, you can expect to see maths research methods type questions in all papers in all topics. And again, this requirement in terms of this exam skill calculating is really developing upon the GCSE maths knowledge. So in terms of calculating percentages, having a go at this and seeing how we might show our workings in the exam, which we really do recommend, imagine that out of a total of 45 participants, 37 improved their scores by revising. To calculate a percentage, the following calculation would be used. Number of participants who improved over total number of participants, and we times that figure by 100. So our workings here for this STEM are 37 over 45, which is the total number, times by 100, and we should have 82.22%. So why don't you have a go now yourself? So out of 600 people, 450 own a car. What percentage own a car? So if you wanted to have a go, pause the video now and then we'll go through the answer. So the answer you should have here is 450 over 600, that was the total, times 100, and we should have 75% own a car. So now looking at percentage increases. So really the first step is to calculate the increase between the two numbers being compared. And then that increase, that figure we get for number 1, should be divided by the original figure and multiplied by 100. So let's have a look at this in action. So a researcher was interested in investigating the effects of listening to music on the time taken to read a passage of text. When participants were asked to read with music playing in the background, the average time to complete the activity was 90 seconds. When participants undertook the activity without any music, the average time taken to complete the reading was 68 seconds. So the question here is calculate the percentage increase in the average mean time taken to read a passage of text when listening to music. Show your calculations. So as we said, first we calculate the increase and we have 22 here. So we do 90 take away 68. And then we do that increase and we divide it by the original number and times it by 100. Okay. So we should have 22 divided by 68 times 100. And our answer therefore will be 32.35%. All right, let's have a look at percentage decreases now. So now we're going to calculate the decrease firstly between the two numbers that are being compared. And then again with that number, we're going to divide it by the original figure and multiply by 100. A researcher was interested in investigating the effects of chewing gum on the time taken to tie shoelaces. When participants were asked to tie a pair of shoelaces in trainers whilst chewing a piece of gum, the average time taken to complete the activity was 20 seconds. When participants undertook the activity without chewing any gum, the average time taken to tie the shoelaces was 17 seconds. So here we've got calculate the percentage decrease in the average mean time taken to tie shoelaces when not chewing gum. Show your calculations for 4 marks. So we can see here with this 4 marks, it really is important to show your full workings. And the reason for this is if you happen to come to a slightly incorrect answer, but you showed no workings, that could potentially be 0 marks. Whereas if you came to the wrong answer, but showed some correct calculations, you could be awarded some marks there. So here we do 20, take away 17 is 3, and then we do 3 divided by the original number, which is 20 times 100, we should have 15%. Okay, so understanding numbers and decimal places, and they are counted from the decimal point. So as we can see with 7.325, we've got the first decimal figure after the point, which is 3, and the second one is 2, and the third one is 5. Looking at rounding numbers next, you must be able to round numbers up and down, especially if the question asks you to. To round a number to a given number of decimal places, you look at the number in the next decimal place. So if it's less than 5, you round down. So if it's 1, 2, 3 or 4. If it's 5 or more, you round up. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This number has 4 decimal places. What is this number rounded to 2 decimal places? So we can see here the answer is 4.79. Remember, it's asking 2 decimal places, that's the 7 and the 8, and obviously the 8 is over 5, so we round up to 7, 9. So looking at significant figures, it's another way of rounding numbers, and really what we do here is count only the first few digits that have a value attached to them. So in other words, significant figures only start at the first non-zero number. So we ignore the zeros at the front, but not the ones in between. So for example, we can see 0.663. So the first significant figure here is the 6. Okay, that's the first non-zero number. Making the second one, the third significant figure is the last one, 3 here. Another example here is 0.0031. Now remember, the significant figures start the first non-zero. So although we don't count the 2 zeros, we count the first non-zero number here, which is 3. So that is the first significant figure with the second. So again, just to exaggerate that, from the first significant figure onwards, all zeros are included. So we can see here with 0.103, we've got the first significant figure is 1, and yes, even though the next one is 0, that's still the next significant figure. So calculate the following. We've now got round 46.673 to 2 significant figures. So if you wanted to pause the video now to have a go, do so, and then we'll shortly be going through the answer. And we can see here our answer rounded to 2 significant figures is 47. So it's all rounded up to the highest figure. Okay, second one to try. So round 0.1045 to 3 significant figures. So again, if you wanted to pause the video. So our 3 significant figures would be 0.105. So now we're going to have a look at descriptive statistics. So we've got our measures here, our mean, median, mode and range. So the mean, median and mode are our measures of central tendency, and our range and standard deviation are our measures of dispersion. Now, the only ones you're going to have to calculate are the mean, median, mode and range. You will not be asked to calculate, and you will not be expected to calculate the standard deviation, but you may be asked to interpret standard deviation scores in a table of findings. So let's have a recap over what these measures actually mean. So the mean is where we add up all the scores in a data set and divide by the number of the total amount of scores. The median is where we rank the scores from lowest to highest and find the middle value. The mode is the most common value in a data set, and of course this could be multiple. And the range is simply subtracting the highest score from the minus. So let's have a go at doing some of these measures. So, welcome to the Data Lab. Here we're going to be analysing some data. So here we have a histogram. This is a histogram because it's a continuous scale here with the percentage and it's related data. So using the data in this histogram, work out the number of students who scored between 40 and 90% on the test. Okay, so the answer, we should have 41. Between 40 bar and the 90, we're going to add the number of students up and we should have come to 41. Okay, here we've got 100 males and 100 females completed a survey about their social media preferences. So here you've got to calculate the percentage of males who prefer TikTok. So our answer we should have is 70%. Okay, so our workings would be 70 divided by 100 times 100. So here we've got 100 males and 100 females completed a survey about their social media preferences. Calculate the percentage of participants who prefer Facebook. Okay, our answer here is 55%. So we've got 50 males and 60 females. That's 110 divided by 200 times 100. So here we're going to do some quick fire questions. So what is 0.05 expressed as a percentage if you wanted to pause the video to have a go? So we should have 0.05 times 100. This is 5% as a percentage. Next, we've got what is the difference between the mean in these two sets of data to 2 decimal places. Again, if you want to pause the video to have a go. So here we've got the total for condition A divided by 6, which is 10.83333. And then we've got condition B, total is 69 divided by 6 is 11.5. So we do 11.5, take away 10.83333 is 0.67. And our last question then of the session. In Milgram's original study of obedience, 40 participants took part. 65% of these reached 450 volts. How many of the 40 reached 450 volts? So here, the way we would work this one out, our answer is 65 because as a decimal that is represented as 0.65. We times that by the participant number, which is 40, and that is 26 people reached 450 volts.